Story 1, bowling. We put our fingers in the dark, porous holes of the ball that everyone uses. Then we eat nachos, wings, and other finger foods. Story 2, attending a music festival without adequate portable toilets. Went to one in Portland, and the area around the 8 portable toilets was a literal lake of urine about 6 inches deep. 8 portable toilets for about 10,000 people, all intoxicated and under the influence of drugs. Story 3. I feel like I am the only person I know who wipes down their steering wheel, levers, knobs, and handles regularly. Think about how many places you go in and out of, then get into your car and drive. Doing this throughout the week causes these touch points to become quite germy. Story 4. Wearing your clothes out on the subway, at work, in restaurants, doctors' offices, and then coming home and lounging on your bed or sofa wearing the same clothes is unhygienic. Even worse is doing this with your shoes. Think about what is on the ground outside. Spit, animal feces, spilled food, mucus, blood, grease, gum, and more. Then you walk around your house with all that on your shoes. If you have children and they play on the floor, as most do, you are exposing them to a lot of germs. Just unpleasant. Story 5. Blowing out birthday candles on a cake that people then eat, especially if it is a child's birthday cake, is concerning because children have weaker immune systems. I cannot believe this practice still continues since coronavirus disease. Story 6. Drinking from a can without rinsing the top first, especially if the can is from a gas station or similar place. Story 7. Turning off the water after washing hands without using a paper towel in public bathrooms, touching the same surfaces that their own and others' unwashed hands have touched. Story 8. Eating food from the open produce section of the grocery store, especially after it has been placed on the conveyor belt and handed to you by the cashier. Almost every time I wash my hands at work, the water turns grimy and gray. Wash your fruits and vegetables before eating them. Story 9. At the convenience store or gas station ice and drink dispenser, push the cup up around the spout so that when the cup fills with the beverage being dispensed, the contents of the cup come into contact with the bottom of the spout. Story 10. Washing chicken. Stop washing it. It does not do anything except spread salmonella all over your sink. Stop it. Story 11. Touch the public bathroom door handle after washing your hands. Grab it with a paper towel or some toilet paper. Story 12. Bringing their phone to the toilet is common, and it is actually disgusting. Many people do not wash their hands properly either. I have noticed that when I use public restrooms, people often let the water run over their hands without soap for only 5 seconds, and then they walk out. Story 13. Not washing your hands. Not washing your hands long enough. Not washing your hands with soap. Not washing your hands after using the toilet. Not washing your hands after lifting the lid of a filthy dustbin. I guess just not washing your hands. Story 14. A little bit of unsanitary exposure is good for you because your body learns to fight it. I think that people who take too many steps to isolate themselves are actually at risk of becoming sick more readily than normal and spreading illness to others. Story 15. Trust me, from someone who struggles with obsessive-compulsive disorder, as much as I wish this were not the case, if you focus on the minute and microscopic, there is nothing on this earth that is not dirty, gross, or contaminated in some way. It is one of those situations where the less you know, the better. You do not want to go down this rabbit hole. Story 16. Having children means 18 years of those little ones running around your home, spreading who knows what. Story 17. Consuming beverages in restaurants and gas stations with ice. If you think ice machines are cleaned regularly, you would be wrong. Story 18. So many questions on this subreddit can be answered with the same thing. Eating. I do not even want to think about it. Story 19. Emptying the rented recreational vehicle's waste tank, then placing the end of the waste drain hose over the fresh water spigot that the next person will probably drink from, in order to pretend to rinse it out or clean it, and then draping the wastewater sewer hoses to dry across the top of the public picnic table that the next occupants will eat upon. Story 20. Using air dryers in public restrooms spreads bacteria all over your hands. Using paper towels is much better. If there is no paper towel dispenser, I dry my hands on my clothes. Story 21. touching the bottom of their shoes. It blows my mind how someone could not see how disgusting that is. You just walked out of a urine-soaked public restroom or somewhere similar, and now you are pulling a rock out of the bottom of your shoe before you eat? Story 22. Letting their cats walk all over the countertop. My cat had radioactive iodine treatment for hyperthyroidism. One of the biggest risks afterward was that his urine and feces were radioactive for a month after treatment. So we had to clean his litter very carefully and keep it separate from the other cat. The most important instruction was to keep him off the counters because cats track waste particles where they walk, and if they walk where we prepare food, we will inevitably ingest those particles. Story 23. Breath. Every bit of air you breathe is full of multiple bacteria, multiple viruses, many mold spores, tiny pieces of dust, insect parts, pieces of human and animal hair, and floating dead skin cells from everyone around you. Now, breathe in really deeply and enjoy natural life. Story 24. Shaking people's hands. Blowing out birthday candles. Using your mobile phone while in the bathroom. Story 25. Sharing glass pieces when smoking cannabis. Sharing bills or other inhalation paraphernalia. Even joints or blunts retain most of the lip residue from the previous person. But really, smoking a bowl or bong with strangers is asking for a cold sore. Finally, allowing men to insert their hands inside your vagina without washing them first can disrupt your pH balance and cause an infection due to dirt and grime under unwashed fingernails. Story 26. Blowing out birthday candles on a cake. Then everyone eats the spit-glazed slice of joy as if it is normal. And yes, we smile while chewing it. Story 27. Coming from a man. Urinating while standing. Of course, we all agree that we have perfect aim and do not miss a single drop. But there are tiny droplets flying sideways in backsplash from hitting the bowl. I once saw a small experiment where they simulated this with colored water and white paper laid out. I was so disgusted, I immediately became someone who sits to urinate. Story 28. Wiping after urinating is often overlooked by many men. Approximately 90% of men do not do this. As a result, urine may remain in the underwear even after shaking off the drops. Story 29. Putting your mouth on canned drinks is unhygienic because the can is exposed to the environment, and you do not know where it has been or what has touched it. I am disturbed by the story of a woman who became ill after drinking from a can contaminated with rat urine. I always use a straw when drinking from cans. Story 30. Taking a deep breath and blowing as hard as they can all over food that others are about to eat. I am talking about birthday cake and candles. Story 31. Touching door handles with bare hands, especially in businesses like gas stations, is not recommended. Pull your sleeve over your hand. Story 32. Sharing keyboards are almost never sanitized because you cannot get them wet without disassembling first. I had an old keyboard that I would take apart and wash all the keycaps in soapy water, but it was a hassle. Since people like to eat or snack, then lick their fingers and go back to typing, it can get unhygienic very quickly. Story 33. Using the big screens in fast food restaurants and eating the food you ordered over them with bare hands. Story 34. Yes, I will disregard this entire thread. Being a germaphobe seems to cause a lot of unnecessary stress. Story 35. Using the same blood pressure cuff from sick patient to patient without cleaning is unacceptable. I never understood why this is common practice. Story 36. Rarely changing pillowcases. We shed skin cells, transfer oils from our heads, drool, and sometimes get blood or mucus on them, laying on them night after night. We should use one side, flip the pillow for the next night, then change the case to start that process over again so we have a clean surface every night. Story 37. Buffets. I am seeing a trend in cafes recently of leaving cakes exposed on countertops for every customer to breathe on. It seems nothing was learned from the worldwide pandemic. Story 38. Using the tongs in a buffet, those tongs had everyone's hands on them. I use a napkin or just grab my one piece of whatever on the sly using my hands, not touching any of the others. Story 39. Shaking hands. This is the hand that I use to clean myself and hold the paper. Would you like to touch it? Story 40. I work at a gas station in the grill area. People use the bathroom, take the smelliest bowel movement of their life, and then walk right out without using the hand sanitizer or sinks. Then they start browsing items and touching everything, including the grill order kiosks. I clean them every hour these days. Story 41. They lick their fingertips before touching objects. It is to make their fingertips sticky. It is unpleasant. It is often older people. Story 42. Not washing their hands. Not understanding why they wear protective gloves and how to handle them. Example. A person takes your money with a glove on and then touches your food with the same glove. Second example. Wearing gloves because someone needs to search a bag. Then they touch their own face or phone and touch everything with those dirty gloves. People cannot grasp that bacteria and dirt do not stay in their original place. People really only believe what they can see and touch. Bacteria exist. Story 43. Obsessively avoiding germs and disinfecting everything, including your own skin, is unsanitary in the sense of not being conducive to health. Your immune system needs practice. Digging in the dirt is good for your gut microbiome. Too much hand sanitizer or mouthwash is bad for it. Children who grow up with dogs are less likely to develop asthma or allergies. Some flight attendants and kindergarten teachers, as well as other workers who are in close contact with many people and their germs, say they gain strong immunity from illnesses like colds after a couple of years on the job. Even intestinal worms and other parasites can have health benefits, such as improved fertility and reduced allergies. Possibly because our ancestors co-evolved with them for eons before we started being selective about avoiding infections. It is probably wise to wash your hands after using the toilet, but do not be overly obsessive about keeping your entire environment as sterile as an operating room. It might be harmful to your health. Story 44. I have a few concerns. 1. Not washing their hands after touching money. Not washing hands after going out and touching multiple doorknobs and handles. Eating food that they have dropped onto their phone. Letting cats and other pets onto kitchen counters and then still eating off of them. Story 45. Not washing hands enough. The things I see people touch, whether unsanitary surfaces or chemicals, and then go about their day is insane. Story 46. For any gender, not washing your hands after using the toilet is unhygienic. Even if you only urinated, you still touched the flush button and possibly the seat. At least use sanitizer. Story 47. Handling their phones while eating. Mobile phones are usually overlooked when it comes to cleaning and sanitizing. The same applies to doorknobs and handles. Story 48. 1. Touching gas pump handles without wearing gloves. Using hand sanitizer, or washing hands afterward. Believing that hand sanitizer replaces hand washing. Since learning that hand sanitizer does not work on norovirus, I always use gloves for dirty public tasks. I keep a gardening glove with a rubber front in my car specifically for pumping gas. For those who say closing the toilet lid does not help prevent germ spread in the bathroom, flush with your face directly above the toilet and then decide if you prefer not to put the lid down. While it does not prevent all bacteria spread in the toilet plume, closing the lid reduces droplets and directs suspended particles downward, causing them to settle on the wall or floor instead of floating around or landing on your toothbrush. Story 49. Not washing your hands before going to the bathroom allows germs and dirt to remain on your hands when you pull your pants down or unzip. This is unhygienic. Wash your hands before and after using the bathroom. It only takes seconds. Story 50. Pick and mix sweets. You cannot convince me that people have not been sticking their dirty hands in there. Sealed items only for me. Also, my stepmother used to work at a shop that has a bakery section, and she always said she would never buy the bakery items because many employees do not wash their hands, and gloves were not required, which is wild to me. Story 51. Not washing hands before eating finger food. After studying microbiology and seeing the microorganisms crawling on our hands under a microscope, I wash my hands thoroughly before eating. Story 52. Handling their phones without sanitizing them. If people hold their phones all day, they collect bacteria and viruses they have come into contact with. I wipe mine down with sanitizer every day. Even then, I am sure it still has contamination, but it is something. Story 53. You've been stuck in traffic for 7 hours. Desperate for number 2. You've eaten a warm, out-of-date pepperoni from the glove box. Finally, you get to a service station. You run, trying to clench your cheeks together. All but one cubicle is out of order. You do your checks. The seat has a selection of curly hairs of different colors, a sprinkling of yellow liquid, and a go faster stripe up the rim. More importantly, there are 3 solitary sheets of the lowest quality toilet paper since lockdown. You have no choice. You have 10 seconds to avoid soiling yourself with a pepperoni poo problem. You sit, you finish, you wipe, maybe you cry a little, then you leave. You avoid all eye contact with the man walking in with his sons while they shout, "Daddy, I need to poo," making a mental note to never visit the service station again. Later that day, as you throw away your pants, you lie to your spouse, "Yes, the trip was okay. No issues. Or it might just have been me." Story 54. People who put their cash in their bras and shoes, especially during the summer months. I had no idea this was a thing until I walked into a gas station. There was a sign refusing service for it. I had to ask the cashier if that was really a thing. She said you wouldn't believe the number of people who pull their sweaty money out from their bras and shoes, then try to give it to her like it was no big deal. Story 55. Holding the gas station pump with bare hands is unhygienic. It has been handled by many people and people can carry germs. Therefore, I use gloves to handle it every time. Story 56. Sharing drinks with friends and family. We all know it spreads germs. But when someone offers you a sip of their amazing smoothie or cocktail, you are going to take it. Story 57. Handling money, paper or coins. I used to manage a card shop in a mall. We would make anywhere from $1,200 a day up to $65,000. I was the one who hand counted it, especially the bills. My hands would be black with dirt by the time I finished. Money is dirty. Story 58. Using toilet paper instead of water. Using those little spray showers like they often have in Asia is much more hygienic than just wiping with dry paper and hoping for the best. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.